The day before I was supposed to get engaged to Winter, I saw her through the window kissing her male secretary passionately. Didn't cry or make a scene, just tossed the ring I had on my hand. When she walked in, the first thing she said was, "Tomorrow's engagement ceremony is canceled." Got it. This time I didn't ask why. She was a bit surprised and offered an explanation. "Some issues came up at work. I need to go abroad for a bit." She squeezed my hand and said, "Harvey, I'll make it up to you next time." Her assistant chimed in at the right moment. "Harvey, where's Winter's luggage? I'll take it down first. Won't disturb you too." He gave Winter a look, like he couldn't tear his eyes away. "Bedroom," I said. "Take your time packing. I'm stepping out to grab something." Winter didn't try to stop me, just asked me to come back early. Next day she left for her trip, and I booked a flight abroad. Winter probably thought, as always, I'd unconditionally wait for her. This was the third time she'd promised to make it up to me later regarding our engagement. From college to work, I'd been with Winter for 8 years. She used to say she'd marry me after graduation, but then it was always work getting in the way. "Harvey, you're the only one I'll ever marry." The first time we were supposed to get engaged, she told me at the last minute it was postponed because of a crisis, a patent theft at her company. The second time, she claimed there'd been an accident at work, and she had to be on site or the company's reputation would be at risk. Work was always her excuse. The night before this latest engagement, she said, "Once again, engagement's canceled. Winter, I want to marry you, but you're not the only option for me." This morning, Winter and I were supposed to try on outfits. After dressing up, she was nowhere to be found on the couch. I found her on the balcony on the phone. "Are you really planning on marrying him?" I heard someone ask through the phone. I leaned against the wall. The voice was so clear and piercing. Winter rubbed her temples. "Who? Harvey? Of course not." The voice on the line chuckled. "Back in school, you were crazy for him, wouldn't consider anybody else. What's putting you off now? Were you just pretending back then?" Winter sighed. "Who knows? Back then he seemed charming, like this upbeat, handsome guy." She paused and added, "But now, I'm just sick of it. Can't even stand the thought." That moment, my heart stopped like a bucket of cold water was dumped on me. All my love became a joke. The person on the phone laughed a bit louder. "Why don't you ditch him already? Your assistant is young, handsome, full of life. Don't tell me you haven't tried him out." Winter paused for a moment, looked afar. "Keeping him around is kinda entertaining." "Don't say I didn't warn you," the voice teased. "This is the third time. What's your excuse now?" "Doesn't matter what the excuse is. Whatever I say, he'll believe," Winter replied. The person joked around a bit more. Someone called them away, and they hung up. Winter put away her phone to leave, and I sprinted to the bathroom. Leaning over the sink, I looked at myself in the mirror. My suit was immaculate, but my eyes told another story, like a sculpture shattered by hail. Turns out everyone knew Winter's proposal was fake. Her excuses were fabricated. The assistant was always nearby. But when they saw me, they warmly called me brother-in-law. I thought it was acceptance, but it was endless ridicule. I was just a puppet, a source of amusement. I requested a job transfer abroad. Flights booked for 3 days from now. The next day, Daniel's social media was flooded with photos of him and Winter looking cozy. They kissed by the beach, watched the night view by the Ferris wheel, freely shopped at luxury stores. Winter's social media remained consistent with her excuses, making it seem like all work-related. Daniel left an unimpressed emoji under her posts. Others thought Winter was just working hard with her assistant. Little did they know it was this young guy upset that the woman by his side wouldn't share him on social media like he did her. Daniel, a freshly graduated student, just wanted the world to know about their love. That's why he added me online long ago. Never hid any posts from me, added a vibe of showing off. Many people, even Winter's close girlfriends, commented teasingly. "Winter's having fun with the new guy. Huh? Ah, youth is delightful." I went straight to the comments and typed, "A perfect match. The scenery's beautiful, the people are lovely. Tell Winter to take care of herself." The lively commenting turned silent, like fire doused with water. A moment later, Winter commented, "The youngster's just excited, taking lots of pictures." Winter called me, but I didn't answer. She texted, Daniel just tried to blend in with local culture. Learned some foreign etiquette, your comment was harsh. Young guy just worried you'd be upset. Can't sleep well now. Couldn't help but chuckle. If the assistant's upset, nothing a little coaxing from the boss can't fix. The handsome guy in Winter's arms should be just fine. If I'm guessing right, Daniel's currently with Winter. Much like the other night after I left. He was in her arms, holding her waist, whispering, did I do something wrong? Made Harvey upset? Winter gently wiped his tears, picked him up on the clear cameras. In the house I prepared, they spent the night tangled. This seemed to annoy Winter. She called again. I answered, and she immediately started lecturing me. Harvey, being mean does nothing but make a man seem ugly and loathsome. Loathsome? She used the word so perfectly to remind me just how deeply she detested me. But Winter, you're the one who disgusts me. Daniel is merely a naive young guy, not like you, older and cunning. I asked her, Winter, did I say anything wrong? Winter's voice came to a sudden stop. My words were ambiguous. Reminding an assistant to watch out for their boss's health is totally normal, only a guilty conscience reads into it. That's what sets the impatient off first. Seems like the only way to gain the upper hand is to be justified. I said nonchalantly, or maybe you're acting guilty, hence the big reaction. Winter hadn't even spoken yet when a weak male voice, almost crying, came from the other end of the phone. I'm sorry, boss. It's all my fault. Please don't argue with Harvey. I'll delete my posts right now and never post them again. Winter snapped, slick talker. Since you don't see the error of your ways, our engagement party is indefinitely postponed. Even Daniel is more sensible than you. She hung up before I could say anything. My grip on my phone was tight, turning my fingertips white. Winter spoke with confidence. Every time we fought, I would be the first to back down and seek peace. I felt sorry for her hard work and didn't want her to return home to more trouble. In her mind, once she finished her so-called work trip, she'd just need to give me a cold look, and I'd pamper her. I'd even make a table full of delicious food to please her. Her friends would say I couldn't live without her. They joked, Harvey will always make up after arguing with Winter, within 3 days. Honestly, at first I envied Winter, but eventually, I felt more like a monkey being played around without getting angry. But well, that's how you end up not being taken seriously. I chuckled sarcastically. If Winter respected me, how could her friends dare to say such things openly? The truth was she'd always seen me as a joke while I naively reveled in being in love. I had indeed become a laughingstock. Preparing for the flight the day after tomorrow, I packed my bags in my apartment. This place was a gift from my parents before they emigrated overseas. Winter urged me multiple times to sell it. Since you're moving in with me, this apartment is just sitting there. Plus, you have to worry about keeping it clean. I feel bad for you. I agreed verbally but couldn't really part with it. Thank goodness, as it's my only haven now. The apartment was all mine, with only a few items from Winter, all gifts from our college days. They weren't expensive, but they had sentimental value. After graduation, she never gave me presents anymore, neither for birthdays nor Valentines. Claimed she was always too busy. Once there's a crack between lovers, it leads to an abyss. Was she really busy with work? Or was it something else? I scrolled through Daniel's social media. Every Valentine's or special occasion, he'd post sweet photos of gifts, and a woman's shadow hovering over him protectively. My nose tingled, holding back tears that fell onto an album Winter gave me. Photographs from when she pursued me, each a snapshot of affection. But now they seemed like evidence of her betrayal. One by one, I pulled out the photos, each a precious memory, and burned them in a bucket. Later, Winter tried to give me another identical album, her eyes red. But coldly, I refused. Things had changed. Once my job transfer was complete, I called a few friends. My new post is in the country where my parents live. Without major reasons, I probably wouldn't return. Before they left, my parents wanted me to go with them, but I stayed for Winter. I told Mom, I can't leave her alone. I want to be with her. Mom reluctantly sighed. I hope you won't regret it. If things go south, come to your dad. He'll take care of it for you. At the restaurant, my friends eyed me curiously. Harvey hosting a dinner? Where's Winter? She let you out on your own? They joked because everyone knew how much I loved Winter. She wanted me home first thing, so I rarely went out. It's not that, I chuckled bitterly. Actually, I'm leaving the country. Got a transfer to a foreign branch. So this dinner is for you guys. Their faces turned somber. What happened with Winter? They asked gently. I held back the bitterness, deciding, I'm done being her shadow. Martin paused, then laughed. Finally, aren't we brothers better company than any girls? They hugged me tightly. Harvey, we're always here for you. I hadn't drunk freely in ages because Winter didn't like it. But now, screw what she likes. Tipsy, they slurred. Find you someone better, buddy. Who needs a queen like her anyway? Plenty of regular women out there. Martin scanned the room, jokingly searching for my match. Soon he approached with a woman in tow. How about her? Isn't she way better than Winter? The others nodded, dazzled while I stayed composed enough to offer an apologetic smile. She returned it warmly, but there seemed to be someone I knew at the table. After a moment, I saw her clearly and it startled me. It sobered me up quite a bit, so I quickly grabbed Martin. Wake up, something happened. Martin, your boss. Martin was clearly drunk. My boss, well, that's even better. She's got the looks, the money, and the figure. Enough for our Harvey. I quickly pushed Martin onto the chair, but he stubbornly stood up again. Pointing at his boss, he exclaimed, Phone, get it out. Quick, add her contact. Martin took my phone and added her contact himself. Will he regret this when he's sober? The woman wasn't impatient at all. Instead, she looked at me and added the contact, even sending a friendly emoji. Long time no see. A buddy of mine leaned in close and whispered, Harvey, maybe something's going on. She kept turning to look at you earlier. Martin pulled her over, and she was staring at you the whole time. I tried to clear my head and open my eyes wide, looking at her. But I didn't recognize her. I still greeted her politely. After dinner, we bumped into each other again at the restaurant door. Since we had been drinking, we couldn't drive and had to get a cab. The breeze sobered Martin up a little. He let out a quiet groan and quickly fell silent when he saw her boss coming out. My buddy went through all this trouble to find you a woman. If you don't seize this chance, you're letting me down. He took a deep breath and went for it, pulling me along to stop her boss. With a smile, he asked Rebecca, busy? Rebecca paused and looked at him. Not busy. Martin grinned. We've all been drinking and can't drive, and Harvey isn't on our way. Can you give him a ride? Rebecca glanced at me. Her dark eyes held an emotion I couldn't decipher. Thanks. Sitting in Rebecca's car, I watched the reflections go by outside. I explained Martin drank too much, don't mind him. Harvey, you're so polite. Rebecca chuckled softly and suddenly pulled over, turning to look at me. I was puzzled. Harvey, don't you remember me? I looked at her blankly, thinking maybe we'd had some business interaction that I forgot. I awkwardly laughed. How could I forget you, Rebecca? You're famous, after all. Rebecca's face grew darker as she looked at me, her gaze getting closer, her scent and breath unmistakable. I felt uncomfortable and tried to pull back, but she grabbed my wrist. Then who am I? I froze. She asked again, what's my famous name? Her insistence made me give in. I'm sorry, She scoffed, Rebecca, but I felt the warmth from her hand linger on my wrist. I instinctively pulled back. She sat up straight and restarted the car. Don't forget again. Honestly, even when she told me, I still couldn't remember who she was. But the lingering warmth on my wrist wouldn't fade. The alcohol was dulling my self-control. From the passenger seat, her sharp features appeared even more distinct. Memories, like a mixed-up program, magnified painful moments. Winter and her male assistant tangled in our marital home photos from abroad. The car stopped downstairs at my apartment. We're here. I moved closer to her, my breath brushing her face. Wanna come up for a bit? Rebecca grabbed my wrist, stopping me. Leaning closer, her dark eyes locked onto me. I could see her trembling pupils. How would I come up? Her low voice whispered in my ear, laden with demanding pressure. My heart skipped, and I momentarily regained clarity. Never mind. Adults don't need to spell things out. I pulled back my hand, just about to thank her for the ride. But before I could, she silenced me with a surprise kiss, her hand behind my head intensifying it, strong and urgent. My consciousness began to blur. Before I ran out of breath, she released me, whispering against my lips, "You were the one who provoked me first." Rebecca found my apartment with precision, opening the door, eager for another kiss in the entryway. She tugged at my clothes, pinning me to the living room couch. In that critical moment, she paused, her eyes showing restraint and hesitation. I pulled her into a kiss, holding her neck. She treated me with the care reserved for a treasure. I watched her, thinking I should recognize such a beautiful face. The phone kept ringing outside, unanswered. I had a flight to catch the next day. When I woke up, it was in the bedroom, feeling fresh and clean. Rebecca had long vanished. The scenes from yesterday replayed vividly. The sensations lingered on my skin. I chuckled under my breath. Guess all women are the same. But Rebecca seemed to have some class. The living room was spotless, tidied up from the chaos of last night. I was the one who initiated, yet my heart felt hollow, like I was the only one abandoned in the world. The car I booked was almost here. I changed clothes, grabbed my packed luggage, and headed downstairs. Rent was just perfect as the driver pulled up. Goodbye to this city where I spent my entire youth. Sitting in the car, the scenery outside zoomed past until it disappeared, like everything that had happened before. Some move forward, others stay stuck in place. For a long time, I dwelled on Winter's care when we were in college. How she bought me medicine on a rainy day and dropped it at my dorm, traveled miles to spend New Year's Eve with me at my volunteer site. I was also infatuated with her confession, that beach proposal, her trembling hand, her tearful eyes. I thought it was her deepest declaration of love, a vow for life. But people don't just stay put forever. I took out my phone and deleted Winter and Rebecca's contacts. Our brief encounter was both an act of revenge and a bit of self-indulgence. About 2 weeks later, a call came from an unfamiliar number back home. "Harvey, where are you?" Recognizing Winter's voice surprised me. From what I know of her, she was angry but keeping her composure. "You should have seen what's on the table. Wishing you and Mr. Daniel happiness. Don't call me again. Did you lose your mind? Harvey, work exhausts me. I don't have time to constantly appease you. Daniel overlooked your past offenses, yet you keep pushing." I frowned. "Winter, you can read, can't you?" I left the engagement ring in the envelope we broke up. I heard a long sigh on the other end, sounding tired. "Harvey, I've given you a way out. Don't test my patience. After this call, I won't reach out again." I chuckled bitterly. Did she always see me as so lowly? Like I should be grateful and take whatever step down she provides? "So you..." I hung up before she could finish. Soon after, I got a message. "It's fine if you want to go out for a couple of days. Just stay safe, but Harvey, you need to tell me where you are. Be good, don't make me worry." Disgusting. I blocked that number too. Hadn't it been for this number being tied to contacts with friends and work colleagues, I would have canceled it the day I left the country. A few days later, a friend back home suddenly called, saying Winter was frantically looking for me. "She's gone mad, calling everyone you've ever had contact with." I found it amusing. If she just asked at my workplace, she'd know I went abroad. But she didn't even know where I worked. To her, my job was insignificant and unimportant. Besides, only a few select friends knew about my move abroad. I told him, just ignore her. Then Winter's friend Mandy called me, sounding urgent. "Harvey, Winter had an accident. Serious. She's in the hospital. You need to come." I instinctively felt a knot in my stomach. Go find her fling. I've broken up with Winter, her matters don't concern me. I loved Winter and respected her friends. I'd been genuine to them, yet they tricked me, laughed behind my back, and played me. The person on the other end hesitated. A nervous tone crept in. "Harvey, I was just kidding. You once treated Winter like she was your world, and I know you're still upset. Why not use this as a chance to mend things?" Her words seemed entitled, as if allowing me this opportunity deserved my gratitude. Mandy, I replied calmly. The engagement was her way of lashing out for Daniel. It's over between us, I've moved on. Impossible. She suddenly shouted, everyone knows you're her puppy, or not, realizing her slip. Harvey, I didn't mean that. I chuckled, indifferently filling in her unspoken words. Everyone knows I was Winter's lapdog, so she shamelessly cheated, and you all played along with it, thinking I was oblivious? A loud crashing noise erupted over the line, like something shattered. Fine, be like that. Better never come back. That was Winter's voice. Mandy tried calming her. Winter, don't be rash. Harvey's just moody now. Hasn't he always reconciled with you? No matter how upset he was? Tell him if he's not back tomorrow, then never to return. I can forgive his whims once, maybe even twice, but beyond that is crossing the line. Winter, don't get upset. Harvey just wants you to care more. I laughed. Do you understand what I'm saying? I informed Mandy with a dose of reality. If you have nothing better to do, check my social media. There, I posted a picture with a tall, striking blue-eyed blonde colleague. While she looked standoffish, her personality was cheerful. Harvey wouldn't dare. Winter saw the photo and glowered as though ready to rain fury. Daniel tried consoling her, but she jerked away. Then, realizing something, she softened her tone. It's late. Go get some rest. Winter's mind replayed the vibrant smiles from that photo. Harvey, you've got nerve. Don't you ever think of yielding to me. She instructed Mandy to process her discharge. Winter, you're still hurt. I won't die. She had indeed been in an accident but exaggerated its severity. Winter changed into her clothes. Harvey, you'll rue treating me this way. She had my card canceled immediately. In her mind, my job was trivial, incapable of earning much, a mere distraction. She'd given me an unlimited card, free to use. Without me, can you still enjoy life? If she had bothered to look at the ring and letter I left behind, she'd see the card remained untouched, buried neatly beneath. Since moving abroad, my parents were the happiest. Our family was finally reunited, but their kindness initially filled me with guilt. How could I once prioritize a woman over the parents who raised me for over 20 years? I stuck to a routine at work and unexpectedly ran into the first familiar face abroad, Rebecca. She ended up being one of our clients. In the office, she kept things strictly professional, as though she never knew me. Fine, I focused on getting the job done. After wrapping up discussions, I saw them out. Take care, Rebecca. Rebecca hung back a few steps behind. Suddenly, she laughed inexplicably. But there was no kindness in that smile. Rebecca, she looked at me, reached out to close the door, and slowly edged closer. Harvey ate and ran, didn't he? She leaned in close, her warm breath brushing against my neck. Back then, you called me Avi. You. She was clearly hinting at something then. Memories suddenly flooded back. She looked right into my eyes. Why did you block me? Her voice sounded a bit fragile, hurt yet stubborn. Why? Thinking back to that day she quietly left. I said, to remove any worries for Rebecca, so she wouldn't think I was clinging on and causing trouble for you. Her intense gaze softened, and she whispered, you were never my trouble. Harvey, I waited so long for you, how could I? I chuckled. Rebecca ran faster than a rabbit that day. Who ran? She got anxious suddenly. I went to get you breakfast, came back, and the house was empty. I froze, surprised by this reason. You really are driving me crazy. I was momentarily speechless. She asked, eyes slightly red, who's that in your social media? She could still see my posts, but I had deleted her. Rebecca picked up on my confusion, saying, I saw it when Martin was scrolling through his feed. A boss sneaking around a subordinate social media? A colleague. Hearing someone outside, I quickly said, you should leave. It's not good to be seen here. What's so bad about it? Now that everything's cleared up, shouldn't you give me a status? There was a bit of a blush on her face. Footsteps outside grew closer. Panicking, I pushed her away. What status? We have no relationship. That last time was an accident. Forget about it. If she doesn't leave, Then I will. Rebecca didn't hurry. She wanted me to add her contact back first. She was strict at work, calling multiple times daily. But Rebecca always replied fast, like instantly. Thinking back to before, when I'd text Winter in the morning and get no reply until night. The reason? Just busy and forgot, not important. But she'd call just to discuss a little work and then slip into personal topics. Harvey, free after work? No, working late. Later on, well, I checked with your boss. No overtime today. Harvey, I'll pick you up after work. I didn't reply. She waited by the entrance after work. I was puzzled. Rebecca, staying here so long, isn't there work back home? She opened the passenger door. I've applied for a transfer to work here. Stunned, I wondered when I got transferred here, she did too. Rebecca, I looked seriously at her gripping the steering wheel, her sleeves half rolled. I gathered courage and said, you don't need to do this if you're doing it for… Rebecca cut me off. Harvey, give me a chance to let you get to know me all over again. Rebecca took me to her place. The chef hired specially had just finished cooking. I remember you liked Cantonese cuisine, this place is renowned for it. The chef's from Guangdong. I do like Cantonese food, but Winter favored spicy Sichuan cuisine, so that's what I often made. To adapt and not spoil her fun, I'd end up with a stomachache after eating. I'd often take a stomach pill before meals. Can't believe someone remembered my love for Cantonese. But how did she know? I finally asked the question. Rebecca, did we know each other before? She looked hurt. Knew you'd forget me. She pushed open a door, went in before me and turned on the light. I was stunned. When did you take these? No, how do you have my pictures? From elementary to college. She even had more than Winter, capturing every detail. The room was filled with my photos. She pointed at her own nose, giggled at me. Such a scatterbrain. You forgot everything about me. You said you'd marry me, that I'd take care of you forever. Suddenly, it hit me. It's you, a kindergarten, elementary, and some middle school classmate. Harvey, struggling with mild autism, wouldn't talk much. Had a camera hanging from his neck. Ended up sitting next to chatty me at school. Even my parents asked me to tone it down. After class, I'd drag Harvey to play even if he just followed behind. Eventually, I got him to smile and talk. His first word was, Rebecca. So I socked him one. Later, realized he meant I ruined his drawing by spilling milk. Her mom brought snacks and toys to my house that day, with a stern Rebecca in tow. My parents were baffled, thinking I'd gotten into trouble again, ready to scold me, but her parents couldn't stop laughing. Thanks to your boy, our daughter finally socialized. My parents were stunned. From then on, Rebecca often came to play, attended the same schools through middle. But she suddenly disappeared one day. That got me mad. You left without a word, and you say I forgot you? Quickly, she explained. I left you a letter that day, asking you to wait. I said I'd marry you when I returned. Mentioned a rainbow envelope. Oh, I vaguely remembered tossing it as trash. Rebecca said her parents moved abroad. She joined an exchange program at my school. But by then, you were with her. Just a bit too late. Her eyes welled up as she looked at me. Harvey, do you know how desperate I felt? I hated being late, thinking if I had come sooner, you'd be mine. So, she talked about her darkest side. I hoped every day you'd break up, even created misunderstandings for it. But you just love her. I was shocked. So those times Winter and I almost split were because of her. I didn't recall seeing her at all during college. She looked defeated. I was out of options. Until the study exchange ended and Mom pushed me to return home. I locked myself away, didn't want to talk to anyone. She shared. My mom got a therapist. News from back home said you're happy. Then I thought if you're happy, that's enough for me. Watching you from afar satisfied me. However, she's not good to you, Harvey. She glanced at me cautiously. I'm not bad. It's because she's not good to you that I stepped in to steal you away. Her cautious, probing look made me uneasy. I cupped her face. Rebecca, thank you. While she caused misunderstandings between Winter and me, this time, it was Winter who betrayed us. Thank you for thinking of me all these years. Will you give me a chance? She asked. I gently kissed her trembling lips. Rebecca's warm breath surrounded my ear. Harvey, this time, only think of me, she murmured with tender care, softly calling my name. I was overwhelmed, feeling only heat. As it ended, she whispered in my arms, Harvey, you're mine. You can't leave me for the rest of our lives. Winter's patience had run out. I didn't show up even on her birthday, signaling no apology. The things I left on the table remained untouched after a glance from her. But this time, she noticed the card she had frozen. She sat on the sofa, smoking one lady's cigarette after another, surrounded by tipsy bottles. Then the doorbell rang. Her dull eyes suddenly lit up, and she rushed to open the door. You're finally home? Regretting it? Winter. A male voice, sounding a bit hurt, caught her off guard. Daniel? Why you? Daniel's expression turned tense, but he quickly composed himself. You haven't contacted me or answered my calls. I was worried. Winter lowered her head, gave a bitter smile. Even you worry about me, but he? Such a heartless. Winter, what happened? Daniel's hand touched her face, his stubble making her look particularly haggard. She avoided his hand, turned inside. I'm fine, just leave. You're waiting for Harvey, right? He won't come back. He even transferred his job abroad, Daniel said, feeling hurt. What did you just say? Winter snapped around to face him. Her intense gaze scared him a bit. His job moved overseas and he already has a girlfriend. How do you know? She asked seriously. It was on Harvey's social media. Mandy knows too. Winter hurled the bottle she held, smashing it violently into pieces. The broken glass rebounded, grazing her skin and slicing a cut on Daniel's neck. Daniel, startled, hugged her tightly. Winter, please don't act like this. It scares me. She had Daniel pull up social media for her. After looking for a while, her angry demeanor loosened. No, I've seen him in love before. This woman's not his girlfriend. Mandy showed me this photo before, but I was too upset then, thinking Harvey was throwing a tantrum, waiting for me to comfort him. I didn't look closely. Now she chuckled. Got someone to pose and posted it, huh? Just waiting for me to search for you? Fine, I'll personally give you that chance. It was easy for Winter to find my work address. My colleague called me for a heads up. He said a woman came by asking about me. From his description, I knew it was Winter but brushed it off. After hanging up, I was going back to sleep when Rebecca's arm wrapped around my neck, pulling herself close. Her voice was low and husky by my ear. You still care about her. I was drowsy and didn't want to talk, but she pushed for an answer, snuggling even closer. If she comes for you, will you go with her? Her probing hand snapped me awake. I grabbed it. What do you think? I don't know. I sighed, pinching her ear. Rebecca, what are we doing right now? She looked at me intensely, whispered 2 words in my ear. Embarrassed, I pushed her away. So now you still think I'd leave with her? She didn't speak, just looked at me. The answer was clear. My patience gone, I tossed aside the covers, got dressed and left. Dragging on a struggle when feelings weren't aligned was exhausting. I didn't want to waste time when perspectives differed. I tried pampering someone once. It was too tiring. If that's what you think, then maybe that's how it'll end up. But I have work, so I'm leaving now. Let's not meet again. Prized her hand off mine, left without looking back. I thought that would put a stop to it. Didn't expect to find Rebecca still there waiting after I finished work. Fearing I'd leave, she ran over as soon as she saw me. Harvey, I came to pick you up. Rebecca, I've made things clear. No need to go out of your way to please me. She took my bag, pulling me toward the car. Harvey, it's not that we parted ways. We just haven't clarified things. Doesn't mean we're indifferent. Standing beside the car door, she gazed at me. Sorry, Harvey. I hesitated this morning. She spoke earnestly. I've thought it through. No matter what your choice, I won't give up. If you choose her, I'll just win you back again. It's not hesitation. It's fear. Even when you're in my arms, I can't believe it's you. Every night, I check you're there to feel at ease. When Rebecca came back as an exchange student and found out Harvey and Winter were solid, and he was happy, she tried to let go. Loving someone means wanting to see them happy. Even though later she deliberately moved back to his city for work, she just watched him from afar and never interfered. Every time she saw him smile brightly at her, it was like a stab in her heart. When she found out their relationship hit a rough patch, she couldn't suppress her emotions any longer. Rebecca took my hand, looked at me decisively, and said, "Harvey, in this life, you're the one I choose." I was stunned she was so straightforward. "What are you guys doing?" Winter's voice, foreign to the local scene, caught the attention of passers-by in front of the bustling building. Rebecca stood in front of me, shielding me from Winter, her expression turning cold. "Harvey, first it was a foreign woman, now an Asian. You'll go to any lengths to put on a show. Fine, you win, I give up." Winter walked quickly over, reaching out to pull me the same way she used to. But only she knew that every step was a struggle and her outstretched hand was trembling. Just like she said, "Harvey, I know what you look like when you're in love and what you don't." I took a step back, and Rebecca waved her hand to brush hers away. Winter, yelling in public isn't exactly high-class behavior. Winter gave a cold laugh. Rebecca, holding another woman's fiancé isn't exactly moral either. "Harvey, come here." Rebecca and Winter had crossed paths in the business world. They both bid for a piece of land and went head-to-head for days. In the end, Rebecca's strength and boldness outshone hers, securing the deal. In Rebecca's mind, she just didn't want Winter to have an easy time. But Winter having a hard time would upset Harvey, so Rebecca kept her tactics harmless. "Winter, did a door slam on your head? Didn't you hear me? I've told you and your sisters many times we're done." I smiled slightly. "Congrats, you've indefinitely postponed your engagement. You don't need an excuse anymore." Winter paused, her face turning pale. "Harvey." Rebecca breathed a sigh of relief, looking disdainfully at Winter. "Winter, chasing after someone's boyfriend isn't a good look. But still, thank you for letting go." Rebecca grabbed my hand and flaunted it. "Otherwise, I'd regret it forever." Winter looked at our tightly clasped hands, her mind raging. Harvey was hers. They just had a fight. But he didn't come to make it up to her. It didn't matter she came herself, but he still gave her the cold shoulder. "Harvey, you get one chance. I can make it up to you, but don't push it." I ignored her, led Rebecca to the car. "I'm tired. Let's go." Rebecca seemed like a different person, her smile unwavering. It wasn't like when we first met, when she'd been so cautious. I hadn't thought we'd meet like this again, and that Winter would really show up. No casual greetings, no letting go. Winter watched the car drift further away, tears in her eyes. Finally hit her. Harvey was different this time. He wasn't the obsessed Harvey anymore, ready to leap at a signal. Before Winter left the country, Mandy had warned her. "Winter, Harvey isn't joking this time, and he's not just upset. He seems serious." Winter downed her drink. "No way, Harvey can't get away from me." Mandy hesitated. "Honestly, you went too far before. Harvey's sensitive. Even if he didn't show it, he's always understood your changes. But he loved you, so he tolerated it. Winter, it's not that he can't leave you, it's that you can't leave him. He's a part of your life everywhere. Your clothes, picked by him, he worked but still worried about your health, made you soup every day." Mandy asked her, "Have you ever taken him seriously, or just treated him like a pet?" Winter was at a loss. "People have feelings," Mandy noted, then patted her shoulder and left. Yet Winter remained confident when she returned. She had come to apologize in person. His anger should have gone by now. At worst, she'd promised to care more about him. But she forgot. No one would wait for her. Winter thought it over. Harvey's anger was really because she canceled the engagement ceremony. He left because he felt her apology wasn't genuine. So she decided she'd agree to marry him. Mandy rented a venue near Harvey's work to propose. Harvey wanted to marry her. This time he'd be satisfied. She tricked Harvey into coming. Pink balloons and champagne roses lined the aisle, with a beautiful woman holding a bouquet at the end. Everyone cheered and urged, "Say yes, say yes." Seeing Winter, I turned and walked. She rushed and grabbed me. "Harvey, I'm sorry." Winter knelt. "I hadn't considered your feelings before, but now I want to make it right." Her eyes were full of tender affection toward me. How ironic. I gave a forced laugh. Winter, so you do have time after all. I was wrong before. From now on, I'll make time for you. I'm outta here. But now, seeing you on your knees just makes me sick. She was about to say something when Rebecca came over and slapped her right across the face. I warned you not to come looking for him again. Winter kept a cool face, grabbing her collar. Back off, Rebecca. My business with my fiancé is none of your concern. Let go, Winter. Winter looked shocked at me. She hit me first, Harvey. Winter, you really think I'm gonna side with her over you? You're my ex who cheated on me. Both of them stared at me, stunned. I kept my eyes on Winter. Haven't you heard? The best exes should feel like they're dead, especially ones like you. Winter gave a little laugh. Harvey, you'll say anything to protect her. Huh? You should worry about me. You think she really cares about you? Does she know everything about us? The years you spent doing my laundry, cooking for me, being with me every night. A loud smack interrupted her when I slapped her across the face. Winter, I regret ever meeting you. My hands were shaking with anger. Rebecca glared coldly at Winter. My only regret is not finding him sooner to take him away from you. Calm down. I stepped out of Rebecca's embrace. When I say you're disgusting, Winter, I mean it. I pulled out a recording of her phone call. Who knew? Back then, I thought he was just some handsome, sunny boy. But now I'm over it. Sleeping with him once grossed me out. Winter's hands trembled, her face pale. Harvey, I can explain. I then played the wedding night video. Winter staggered, her face losing all color. Winter, do you need to keep watching? She tried to grab my phone, but Rebecca blocked her. Piece of trash. You make me sick. Don't come looking for me anymore. And FYI, I've never touched your money. Stop acting like you're better than everyone. Like I'm some bird in a gilded cage. Winter's mind felt like it took a hard hit. Somehow the crowd vanished. What once was college heat had faded, and their bond seemed driven by pure love. Winter had given Harvey a card. A limitless one. Not only that, she gave him everything a husband should have except for that certificate. In her mind, she thought she was the one in control, and Harvey was just living off her. After all, she gave him a great life, so why wouldn't he butter her up? Winter thought Harvey knew this too. Why else would he do her laundry, cook, even eat spicy food he didn't like just to be with her? Yet, she'd forget his birthday, even Valentine's Day, thinking as long as I don't forget him, who cares? But she finally figured out today, Harvey's kindness wasn't because of that card or the lifestyle she offered. It was only because he loved her. When Harvey took back his love, she realized suddenly that being next to him could feel so cold she could barely breathe. After Rebecca took me away, she pulled a ring out of her pocket, knelt down. Harvey, will you marry me? Looking at her eager face, I said flatly, no. Rebecca kept trying, always seeking chances to propose. But I was scared. Every love starts hot, but time wears it down. Eventually, Rebecca roped in both our parents for a big proposal event. You once said you'd marry me. Mom says Rebecca's different from Winter. I'm telling you, don't mess it up. Rebecca and I settled overseas. Parents here too, so we can reunite every year. Mandy called me. Harvey, Winter really knows she's wrong. She's already fired Daniel. Just come back. Winter's willing to give you everything. Rebecca shouted, who needs her money? My husband only spends mine. Mandy, I'm married. Don't call me about her anymore. That night, a strange number called from back home. I only heard Rebecca immaturely say, you're looking for my husband? He's hugging me right now. Lucky me to have met my husband. Rebecca chatted away on this end, while the other line was silent. Eventually, they hung up like avoiding something. Never saw Winter again after that. Sometimes friends would mention her. Winter's drinking, nasty now. Heard Daniel left disgraced when he was fired. Winter smashed his phone. He'd sent stuff for me to see but shielded her from it. She mocked Daniel, trying to steal my spot? You think you can? Worthless. Daniel turned pale, couldn't even speak. W Group and all its partners wouldn't hire Daniel. But none of that mattered to me now. Rebecca patiently waited in the car as I finished chatting with friends. Honey, what do you want to eat? Your wife's cooking. I glanced at her pretty face, teasing. How about you? That on the menu? She placed my hand over her heart. Anytime.